Hey.
Okay, good morning. My name is Sam Lewis. With the brief I'll be giving you today, classification. Well, it's the history and the evolution of the IED. Classification is unclassified. So we're going to start off with the history. Y'all probably heard this probably about 15 minutes ago. So let's look over that. Sound familiar? All right. With history, like I said, one of the first well-known large-scale attacks was the Belarusians used these against the Germans to take out their supply lines during World War II. Here's some another little bits of history. I'm going to go back and I'll touch on a few instances towards Vietnam all the way down to current Iraq operations. In Vietnam, the Viet Cong used grenades. They placed these in jars as a form of an IED. As you heard earlier, what they would do, they would put them in a jar, and either when the jar gets broken, or like some lady said, they'll put some kind of fluid in there so that either way at the rubber bands they have them wrapped around it. All right, the IRA used EIDs with mercury tilts, which is what they was. It's kind of like, you know, how you have your switch where you turn your heat off and on it. What it does is, like, if it tilts, it automatically start the device, and well, it's already armed, and when you hit that switch on there, it will automatically cause it to explode. All right, in Afghanistan and Mujahideen, they used explosives from anti-tank mines to make IEDs. What they would do, they would get the unexpended IED rounds, well, the rounds with the 155 millimeter. They would usually take the munitions out of there, whether it be the gunpowder or whatever they can use for that, to make the IEDs with. So what they were doing, they were kind of just using stuff that was left over, crude means to make IEDs. Same with the Viet Cong too. What they would do, they would find the grenades that the soldiers had actually left around or duds and stuff like that. They would misplace, drop them off their IEDs or whatever. All right, in Lebanon, the Hezbollah, they used IEDs to attack the opposing Israeli forces. So as we can tell right now, a lot of these IEDs have not just been started since Iraq. These have been going on since well before then, and as we can tell, at least from World War II up into the present. All right, as of right now, we know that Iraqi insurgents, they use numerous devices to construct and activate IEDs, whether it's by being hardwired or whether it's by electronic devices, but we'll touch into that in my next portion. All right, we're going to the evolution of the IEDs. Like I said, when they first started off, IEDs were pretty crude. They were either, like I said, made by crude means, or they were command wire, where you have to put your wire into that, you have to actually bury that wire, hide it, drape it over somewhere, but you have to push that button where you were there to actually detonate it. And that came to, like I said, that was one of the first means of using IEDs. And now kind of, as evolution, not the evolution, but as far as technology has evolved throughout time, we got away from that when the enemy started seeing that we can recognize what they were using, so they had to come to different means of that. And that brought upon the pressure switches. Now, pressure switches is not nothing new, but it's being used now, whereas you can put it somewhere that's easily placed so you can hide it or whatever. Somebody can drive a vehicle or step on it or something like that to change the pressure on that to activate the switches for it. Right now, what's the most commonly used one, and this is what we've been talking about pretty much the whole time we've been in this class, which are the remote control IEDs, and the things that you can be used for those, whether it be cell phones, by actually having them on there, having somebody else make a call to that cell phone to activate the device, whether it be long-range cordless telephones where you can set up your systems where you can be at a greater distance away, and that's what the enemy is trying to do now, get at a greater distance away from the actual site so they won't be caught or end up getting killed themselves. You got remote control cars. Like I said, I hadn't seen this. How many people have actually seen that, the use of the remote control cars? Because I hadn't seen it. I thought that was pretty interesting because I had never seen that as far as them bringing the cars up to actually, you thinking it's just a car, but it's actually the receiver to set up an IED. So I actually thought that was pretty interesting. All right, and also car alarms and stuff like that. Anything that can have a signal that can be put to it to make the IED detonate, whether it be like a key fob for your cars that everybody has to open and close their cars, or unlock their doors. Everything, including, and like I said, we have some things on there that I didn't touch upon, like the wireless doorbell system. Those can be used to initiate IEDs. But pretty much anything that can give a signal out can be used. And with that being said, we have to change our ways and tactics of finding these IEDs because of the ways that they're implementing those now. And like I said, even down to the walkie-talkies, anything that can be used to detonate. All right, in summary, what we talked about, I touched on some things from briefly on the history of the IED. I touched on some of the places where they've been at, whether it was in Vietnam, Northern Ireland, Lebanon, Afghanistan, or Iraq. And we also touched on, from the history of it, we went on to the evolution of how they started off as pretty much just crude means of IEDs, whether it be using grenades or found mortar or mortar rounds, anything like that that they can use for that. And how that, since the evolution of the IED has become so prominent, especially with electronic devices, that showed us that we, as Americans, to fight the threat of the IEDs, had to overcome that.
How much information and what type of information did you find on, like, with Lebanon, with Hezbollah? Like, I mean, did you see anything directly correlating to the Iraqi insurgents grabbing that stuff from Hezbollah?
Not the research. I had a pretty sure they had, but not what I saw.
So, what you're saying is that the evolution of the IED is bringing us to where we are now, and where do you think it's going from here? Do you think it's going to go somewhere?
Well, I'm pretty sure, just like with any other deterrent that you use out there, the bad guy's going to find a different way to overcome that. No matter what he does, if we do something, he's going to try to be 2 steps ahead of us, so I'm sure this is actually going to get to that point. All right, so we'll go ahead. So like I said, in summary, I touched on the history and the evolution of the IED. The overall classification for the briefing was unclassified. Do you have any questions? All right, thank you.